Yo, YouTube, what's good? So let's talk about flat Earth for a second, okay? It's 2019, June 24th, 2019 today, I came across flat Earth, I don't know, like four years ago, maybe even longer, 5 years. I just turned 30 years old back in high school. My two middle school teachers who changed my life forever. They actually put me onto the Illuminati, the Federal Reserve, the banking systems, the symbology on the dollar bill, all that. Bless their hearts. Charles, rest in peace. So they kind of got me started on my path of truth, and I've been researching ever since. William Cooper, I used to be really into the alien agenda until I found out that it's all bullshit. And that's being promoted by the intelligence agencies, and that there's zero evidence whatsoever that these UFOs actually are from other planets. There's a plethora of evidence that it's our own technology. And then you can look into Project Bluebeam, and where they basically talk about how stage a fake alien invasion to bring about the whole new world order, yada yada yada. But anyways, I want to touch on flat Earth. So it had to have been back in like 2014. I heard about flat Earth for my first time. And I believe the person who I heard it from first is Eric Dubay. And this is why we don't make videos and drive. Because you miss you fuck up, okay? Anyways, so it was Eric Dubay, and it was really intriguing. And I've learned that most things really are a conspiracy, and most of these things are true. I wouldn't even call them conspiracies. With a little bit of due diligence and a little bit of independent research, you can prove lots of these things to be true. You know what I'm saying? Anything from 9/11 being an outside job with inside help to possibly, what really brought down the twin. It just, and the list could go on. All the school shootings, Sandy Hook, the GMOs in the food, and we could go on and on and on. But I want to keep it on flat Earth, okay? And my first reaction to people was, "You're crazy. What are you talking about?" And when you look at it through the lens that since birth, essentially, we're told that the Earth is a spinning ball. We live on this globe, and it's a spinning ball, and we're flying around through space, and we got all these movies out in outer space. You got Star Wars, all these movies that are just continuing that propaganda, that indoctrination that we truly live on a spinning ball. But who really ever questions it? Nobody. Why would they? Right? Why would they? It's a pretty common belief without question that we live on a spinning ball. So why would anybody ever question it? Well, when I first heard the flat Earth, it did have me questioning some things. Like, why do I believe that we live on a spinning ball? Have I really looked into any of the science or the evidence? No, I just believed it. And, according to my five senses, I look up at the night, and it appears that the stars and everything rotates around us, contrary to what NASA tells us. So there's that. And then you look into things like the fact that I don't feel any motion. Okay, I don't feel any motion. I just don't. And I'm sorry, I don't feel like I'm spinning or moving whatsoever. And how do flies and butterflies and insects defy physics and all these things? And then what else? The gravity. Okay, gravity's never been proven. It's an accepted theory passed on as science, which you really can't prove it. You can take a balloon full of helium and let it go and watch it rise, because that's actually lighter than the helium. Its density and mass, why some things float, same with water. Why some things sink, why some things stay floating, is because of the mass and the density of that object. And then about you know. And then I became a Christian, you know, and this was a long time coming. I've been looking for God for a long time. You know, I've always been a spiritual person, quote unquote. Always been a very spiritual person. And I was into Qigong and did a 10-day meditation. And I was heavy in the New Age movement for a while. I wouldn't say heavy, but I was reading all the New Age books. I was practicing Qigong and, you know, life and God is the universe, and God incorporates everything, and yada, yada, yada. There I go, going the wrong way again. You know, and so I've always been searching. I always knew that there was a higher power, and, you know, I am a recovering alcoholic. And I knew there was a God because I'm still alive. Because, you know, when I drank, you know, from the ages 12 up until, it doesn't matter, but when I drank, I was a blackout drinker and I went crazy, you know, and had just done some really dumb things while intoxicated where God, I mean, that's the only way I'm still alive. I'm sorry. I should have been dead numerous occasions. And I'm just being real with you. Like, I just knew there was God. And I've had personal experiences. Once when I was in New York, it's at this place called Delancey Street, this 2-year program I was in. And we used to do this thing called the game where everybody would get together and you would basically call out the other person, all their bullshit, and they just got to listen to you. I was 17 at the time. And I just hated myself. I left the game and went outside and I was bawling my eyes out and I wanted to die. And I prayed to God, and instantaneously those feelings left. Okay, I'm not gonna give my whole testimony here, but long story short, you know, the Bible, whenever it talks about, describes the earth, it's immovable, has the face of a compass. It just you can't have straight lines on a ball earth, you know. And there's about like 200 different verses you can actually look to talk about that, but what really captivated me was the firmament, right? The glass dome over the flat plane that we live on, right? And then you look at NASA and all the rockets and all their bullshit, which I'll cover NASA in a different video. But all these rockets, they go up and then they start turning, you know, and of course they have an excuse for everything, right? They have some for everything. But here's the deal. Nobody goes into space but the government, okay? Nobody. And they can just tell us whatever they want. But the fact is, when I look up at the sun on a cloudy day and I see sun rays coming down at an angle as if it's making a pyramid, and the sun being at the top of that pyramid about, I don't know, 3,000 miles up in the sky. It's definitely not millions of light years away. I know that. You know, and there's just so many things, and it's like, oh, why are they lying about it? Well, because they don't want you to know that you were created by God who loves you, and you have a purpose while you're here. And we're not some just insignificant come from rocks and monkeys and all this bullshit, and we don't have purpose and just do whatever you want, and there's nothing when you die. Okay, that's what this is all about, really. It's what it's all about. They don't want you to know God, okay? Because if they don't know God, they can keep you in fear. They can control and manipulate the world and all of its people and keep getting away with everything they do and perverting people and just doing what they do. It is, I assure you, it is nothing more than a war against God. Because even before I was a Christian, one thing I noticed, and believe me, I did not like Christianity. I used to condemn Christians, call them hypocrites, all this. And then also all the churches are all controlled by the Illuminati as well. At least all the big ones are, all the mainstream for the majority of the part. And that's another topic too, flat earth. So really it's a war against God, okay? And these people have been ruling essentially since the beginning. And everything's a lie. Everything's a lie, people. And it's crazy if you think about that. That everything's been a lie. But you know, I'm sorry, man. Until somebody can prove to me motion or curvature which none of those have been, or gravity. None of these things have been proven. None of it. They're passed off as scientific facts when they're nothing more than theories, people. And we've accepted them. And they've taught us to deny our own five senses, which tell us differently. Okay? And you can find a Bill Nye video down there on YouTube talking about how you can't leave Earth. There's nothing beyond Earth. You can't leave. Okay? So if that's true, and I'm going to do another video on NASA and covering all that, but you know, I just randomly, this is my first video. I was in my truck and my buddies keep telling me to do make a YouTube channel. And anyways, so Flat Earth, leave your comments. I don't know who's going to see this or how many views. I do know. And another thing, YouTube censoring Flat Earth in 9/11. Okay, so I remember 4 or 5 years ago, you're looking into Flat Earth, or 2 years ago for that matter, you would see a whole bunch of really stellar videos and people making very great points of view about Flat Earth. And that's what convinced me. You know, I just saw so much, the railroads, the bridges, none of them account for curvature. The list goes on and on. And now when you look up Flat Earth, I don't even use Google. People use DuckDuckGo browser or some other search engine, as Google is. They're part of the controllers, okay? And along, obviously, YouTube is part of Google. And they're censoring Flat Earth and 9/11, but Flat Earth, now when you look it up, it's just everything disproving Flat Earth. And you know, if you suffer from cognitive dissonance and you believe in this matrix that we live in, and everything you've been force-fed since birth by the school system, by your parents, by the church, by everybody essentially, then you know you're not going to look into it because you know you're told not to question things and to just believe these people in these positions of power that you believe have your best interest in life, and they don't. And if you keep an open mind and really do some independent research, and don't even look into Flat Earth, look into the globe, look into the science, look into their mathematics, and then you could start to just dissect all of their, either they made a mistake or they're liars, okay? And I assure you that they're liars, okay? They are liars to the fullest. And I mean, the moon landing, come on people, it's a joke. Sorry, I'm doing my best not to curse here. I'm working on not cursing. Anyways, I'm gonna get back. I'm definitely gonna do another video. I highly suggest looking into Flat Earth. Although I also do believe that it was released intentionally to the public by the quote-unquote controllers. And I say that because you know, I mean, it's the biggest conspiracy of all, right? The place that we live on. And what this does, in my opinion, why they released it, is because, you know, for example, vaccinations, and that will be another broadcast that I'm going to do here. They can lump you into a category. They'd be like, oh, you know, you could be talking about vaccines and hitting them with plenty of studies and Section 13 of the vaccine insert and a whole bunch of evidence, and they'll be like, oh, but you know, he's a flat earther, and that right there will just shut the whole argument down in vaccinations. They could label you crazy, which they're already doing with quote-unquote conspiracy theorists. We suffer from a mental illness, and we're crazy, right? And that's, you know, when you talk about conspiracy theorists to your average Joe, that's going to be some of the thoughts. Oh shit, and a cop just rolled by. Anyways, I'm going to get off here. I highly recommend you guys check out the Fullerton Informer on YouTube, Joe and Briano. Also, Sherry Kane, the work of Dr. Leonard Horowitz, to name a few. I hope all you guys have a blessed day. All right, peace.